What are we talking about?
Well, there was something I wanted to talk about, but as is with most things, it uh vanished.
Aren't we gonna talk about anarchism?
Anarchism. Were we? Was there more to speak on? Oh, well, okay.
Jesus
Yeah, if
Christ,
if,
what
if
have
you
I
want
done?
to if you want to entertain the dumb conversations I have with people, sure. You want to enable me in that way.
Yeah, let's talk about anarchism, dude.
No, I don't want to talk about anarchism. I'm allergic to theory.
We're going to the village and we're talking about what? What are we talking about? You spurred this on. What is the
Um
conversation?
did we ever finish what we were talking about? We could talk more freely about speedrunning philosophy.
I would rather talk about theory.
Really? Oh man.
No, compared to this topic.
Okay, well, can we at least finish up the conversation that we started? Because I think it's somewhat interesting.
I don't remember
Especially
what it
as
was, but
someone who used to run track. Okay,
okay.
this is gonna be
I
this,
you have
this
to
is
keep
gonna
in mind I don't remember what the conversation was.
I don't
So
remember what a track is. I think, like for example, let's use a random example, like in Submachine. There are
that's
there
not a
are
random example.
in Submachine there is a puzzle that you know of. Spoilers, by the way, for Submachine 2, 2006. It's called the E equals MC squared puzzle. You have to find
You say you're
E.
aware of as if I remember.
I'm going over it right now because I figured you wouldn't
Okay.
remember.
You have to
No.
find E.
You have to find E. At some point, you're given M in one of the notes, and some point, you're given C in the notes as well. And I guess you're never actually told that you have to use the equation E equals mc squared, but you do see a reference to Einstein in one of the notes. And you have an M and a C, and at some point, you come across a combo lock
I see where you're going with
that
this.
just says E.
Yeah.
And M and C always change. C is always 2 or 3, and M is some sort of three-digit number. Every playthrough, they change.
I guess if
So,
it was not 2 or 3, it would be too difficult to calculate in your head for the
well,
average gamer.
I mean, in the eyes of a calculator, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but in the eyes of an average gamer.
Well, yeah, but in the eyes of an average gamer, they're not gonna try to calculate a three-digit number by a one-digit number anyway. So, at that point, it's basically like you may as well just, you know, may as well go all out, you know,
Or
max that calculator out. Yeah. But the broader point being that those numbers are randomized, so you are forced to check the necessary numbers needed for that code every single gameplay, as opposed to just the numbers being the same every single time,
right.
and then just memorizing what that is. So every time you play the game, you could do the exact same numbers. I think that is something now, like we're talking about speedrunning, right? In the context of speedrunning. First of all, without the context of speedrunning, I think that's just good game design because if you think about it, there's no reason why you should know anything about the game world before you experience it for the first time. Like if you are assuming the role of the player, you know?
Citation needed.
I can't cite nothing.
Okay.
I can't cite nothing. Yeah.
All right.
That's the I don't know if modus operandi is the right term, but that's the term. That's the responsibility of other people to be like, yeah, it makes sense that the player, without ever having stepped into this world before, already knows the
Well,
combination that they never got. You know,
yeah,
one
but
of those
that's just
things that just like makes the immersion a little bit better.
no, but that's just like if you play it for the first time and don't use a guide, you're not gonna know the combination.
Well, you're never going to know the combination unless you happen to guess the combination,
Yeah.
which is not happening. It's
Yeah, but
too high of a chance.
I'm saying even if it was a fixed value, every time you play the game, it was the same value. Like your first time, you wouldn't know what the value is, so it doesn't matter whether or not it's random or it isn't, you know?
Okay, yes, that's true. But what I'm saying is more broadly, um, I think that there should be an understanding that every time you play the game for real, it's as if like the character you're assuming is playing it for the first time, because there's no like in-world reason,
Yeah, but
in-game world
your second playthrough, you know the layout of the game. So why is
Yes,
this
but the point,
one
okay,
puzzle?
but because the point is to try to minimize it as much as humanly possible. Like currently, we don't have a way to wipe your brain every time you start up the game, which would be ideal. And honestly,
Right.
I'd probably really like that for some games. Gosh,
Okay.
Witness especially. Jeez.
Right.
Obviously, it's not a perfect system. We're not going like full. I don't know what the term is, but the point is to try to make it as realistic to what you would expect a player in the game world to actually think and feel. That is the point.
For you.
For most people, I mean, sure, okay. There's nothing saying that you can't do it differently, but I think it's reasonable to assume that the developers want to try to create a world that is as realistic in this sense as possible. You know, just by default, that just seems to be the default way to handle this sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's all without speedrunning. And then with speedrunning, I would argue that this sort of thing should be kept and preserved, because I don't necessarily think it's cheating to be like, "Oh yeah, I already know the passcode, so I don't have to like bother to look it up," or I already know like the combination of the symbols, so I don't have to go find the symbols and like put them together and whatever. Um, I just think it should be
Yeah,
preserved
lad.
for speedrunning, and I think that if there are games that have fixed combinations or like specific ways of solving puzzles that could be randomized, then they should be randomized just to piss off speedrunners. Well, not just to piss off speedrunners, but
Oh, we're synthesizing a point here.
because let me try to find I'll try to find a quote um, that I saw on a random game developer's Discord. Try to find it really quick.
I just want to, before we go further, I just want to say, I think Submachine and games like Submachine are probably the worst things to discuss with me as far as speedrunning is concerned. Because I literally don't see the value of speedrunning a game like Submachine.
I personally also share that opinion.
However, a game like Minecraft, hear me out.
Okay.
Minecraft randomly generates a world every time, and speedrunners don't really mind that they have to play a random world every time. You see where I'm headed with this?
Sort of, but that I'm not sure how similar that is, because Minecraft is like kind of open world-ish, right?
What do you mean by that?
Okay. This could be my lack of experience with Minecraft
No,
talking.
what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is um like a game like Submachine has for and other room escape games just in general, like we could broaden it to room escape games in general. It's like there is like you always know the general layout once you like play it a few times, because there aren't really that many room escape games that have a completely randomized like puzzle layout or room layout. Like they just don't exist.
Well, what does that have to do with open world
So what that
games?
has to do with like a game like Minecraft, I guess there's sort of the natural expectation that that sort of thing doesn't matter anyway.
Well, I think there is a category for running a specific seed on a specific version of Minecraft, so it's always the same world.
I see. Okay. Well,
I'm not sure about that though, because it might not be a popular category because it kind of defeats one of the cool things about Minecraft. Let's see, speedrun.com. There's a lot of categories for Minecraft, as you might imagine. There's like different categories for different versions of the game. There's a fucking 3DS edition category.
whoa.
Whoa, dude. All right. Java edition. Okay, yeah, there is a set seed category, so the game world is always the same
Do
in
they only
set seed.
restrict it to one seed?
Yes, and with a
Oh,
specific
really?
version. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess that would be the way to do it, right? Is to just like pick a specific seed and be like, this is the prime seed.
They don't say what seed it is though. That's interesting.
Seed number 1.
Yeah. Oh wait, it does say what seed it is. Oh wait. No. I think it might be. No, they're the top. Yeah, the top speedruns seem to be all the same seed. I think
More
it
like
might.
seed runs.
All right, dude. I'm ending the call. It
Yeah.
might be a case of like trying to find the best seed and changing what the seed is based on what the best seed is, or if
The best scene is a desert straight to the portal.
well, you still need the things,
With
the
all the
orbs.
items like in a line between you and the portal.
That's impossible.
No, it's not.
It is quite literally impossible. You have to go to the Nether to.
Nothing is impossible.
Do you have any data to back that up?
Yeah, I have a
I have a little book.
why are we talking about this specifically? I feel like we've gone off the main point a little bit.
I'm saying the point was that Minecraft random seed speedrun is a different world every time, and the player doesn't know anything about the world other than the game mechanics.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's fine. In fact, I guess I would argue like that's sort of that's closer to what I'm trying to get to with like room escape game speedrunning. Like that philosophy. Like I'm trying to get closer to that because that seems more correct to me. Well, not correct, but just like it takes a lot of the mechanical, like straight mechanical nature of it out and is more like you're not just like doing the mechanics of it, but you're actually like doing the game of it as well. It's
and
very
doing your
unspecific.
mom.
Yeah, it's very unspecific language, but I don't have a better language.
Um. Well, here's the thing. I don't think point and click games generally are good for speedruns because it's quite literally just clicking on the right spot on the screen most of the time. And randomizing, like with that E equals MC squared puzzle, randomizing the variables in that equation
Hmm.
doesn't really change that much. Like you're just calculating a
Yeah,
number.
you do have to
You have to click
contribute
to the
one more.
screen.
Well, it's not just that, but you also have to contribute a little bit of active brain power to figuring out the solution as well.
Sure. I, here's the
Which
thing.
is which is more in tune with like the entire point of the game world in the first place. It's not like Ninja Warrior, you know, it's not a physical endurance test. It's a brain yard.
Right.
Oh, you never finished The Witness. So I can't talk to you. Oh, this is a really good example I'm thinking of right now.
Oh.
Ooh.
Is it a
Ooh.
random is it a puzzle that's randomized? Like the
It
puzzle
is
itself?
not only a puzzle that's randomized, it's a timed puzzle that's randomized.
Okay. That
And
that could make for good speedrun content.
oh my, you have no idea. Yeah, I
Listen,
guess.
the
I guess I
best
don't really have an
speedrun
idea
games.
either, but
I think you weren't watching the stream when I said this, but because I was playing Mario. Were you there for the Mario stream like early? I basically said that platformers are pretty much the best, some of the best speedrun games because it's usually all about the actual game mechanics and like traversing the world as like
right. Yes.
optimized as possible. Oh god, apple pie.
But you see, someone could say that the mouse is a game mechanic,
No.
and you traverse the
Well,
word.
it is a game mechanic. However, it is the most boring.
But it is a game mechanic nonetheless.
Well,
You see,
we're arguing whether or not it's a worthless speedrun because it's boring to watch and boring to play.
I see. That
So
sounds like a personal problem. Look at me. You have me defending submachine speedrunning.
I don't. You're doing that all
You're
by
doing that
yourself.
all by yourself. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The quote that I was referring to 2 years ago when this conversation started was something
Wait,
about how,
I vaguely remember this. Okay, go on. What's the
yeah.
quote?
So someone was saying that if you randomize these sorts of puzzles, it's akin to making. Shoot, I really need to pull up the quote because it was such an indicative quote of how they view this sort of thing. All right, I can't find the quote because I don't understand how words work, but the quote was basically like they were saying like if you took a puzzle, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head and I can't. That has like a static combination from game to game, even though it could be a random combination, but for whatever reason the developer made it static
All right,
because they were bored.
all right, Resident Evil 2 has a bunch of lockers that you can
Yeah.
open that give you
Okay.
items, and you have to
Okay.
find the combinations.
Okay.
All
And
right,
are the combinations randomized or are they not?
they're not.
They're not. So this person would argue that if you made the combinations randomized, that's making this they said it's like getting in the way of the speed run or something like that. I can't think of the correct phrase.
It,
It's like making the speed run longer than it needs to be, which very clearly shows that the way that they think of speedruns is something that is purely mechanical
uh-huh.
and less having to do with like the quickness of the mental effort that you put into the game. And I think I don't know, maybe there's a game where to me that makes more sense, but I think broadly, like if you've got a combo, you should randomize that combo every single time.
Well, we're talking strictly in the context of speedruns
I think for both, just with and without the context of
for
speedruns.
both. Okay. Well, for speedruns, I would disagree completely.
Why?
Because knowing a different set of numbers, where the puzzle is whether or not you know a set of numbers, doesn't really add anything to the skill necessary to do the speedrun. If we're talking strictly about like a combination thing, but here's the thing: people don't say that about games like Minecraft where the levels are randomized. They only say that about puzzles where the puzzle is if you know a set of numbers or something like that, or like some information that you need to continue the game. That's like that doesn't involve anything regarding the player's skill. It's just like pure knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I think there should be knowledge all the time.
No, it really doesn't make for spun. I just made up a
Spun.
new yeah spun. It
Spun.
doesn't make for a fun speed run, and it doesn't. Yeah, that's speed run fun, by the way.
Yeah, I
Spun.
don't know. I think there's shoot, the words are melting out of my hand.
Do you watch speed runs
I'm
regularly?
trying to slurp them up. No,
Okay, so
absolutely
then you
not.
don't understand.
Okay, well, no, that's a different dimension entirely. Like doing the speedrun versus like watching speedruns as a source of entertainment.
Well, do you do speed runs?
I don't partake.
So, so you're talking out of your ass.
Well, I used to do speedruns, so I'm not. It's not completely out of
Of
that.
what?
It's a little partially out of that submachine. No, I held the world record for submachine 10 for like 42 minutes. No, it was longer than that.
Was it on speedrun.com?
It was on speedrun.com. In fact, unless someone removed it, it might still be on speedrun.com despite the run not being up anymore because I took that video down. I will say this though.
Uh-huh.
I do recognize, and maybe you were talking about this earlier, maybe not. Maybe I ignored it. So I'm going to accept it as if it's my own idea.
You recognize?
I recognize that the mechanic for the puzzle never changes, so you will always know the mechanic by which the puzzle is solved going in.
That's not the problem.
Well, I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm saying it's a caveat that should be kept in mind if we're talking about.
Caveat.
Yeah.
Oh, you heard that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought my noise gate would block it.
No. That should be
Fuck.
kept. That I guess I should keep in mind, like, as long as I'm going to hold this position, because it's like, yeah, you do the combo lock, you type in the calculator, you type in the calculator. The next time you do it, you type in the calculator. The next time you do it, you type in the calculator. So you can never really get away from, or like, for example, you pick up the notes, like you get the 4 notes together. It's like, okay, there's the combination. You just got to pick up the 4 pieces of paper. So like in that sense, you can never really get away from the repetitiveness of that as well. But I think it's more just what I'm arguing for is to try to get as much brain juice flowing as possible every time.
Okay. I don't care if brain juice is being exchanged. I care if it's a fun mechanic and it doesn't sound fun and it
I
isn't.
think I think you need to play the witness all the way through, and then you'll accept my position.
I think you need to torture yourself for several hours and then you'll get my meaning.
Don't view it as torture. View it as
I just want to make you feel like dying for a second. We've been friends for like 4 years.
that's a net positive statement to me.
No, but like, listen, I think about the passage of time when I say that.
Okay, I'm choosing not to. That's why
I
I
think
said net. That's why I said net positive.
I think about the fact that I'm 22 years old, but I still think of myself as a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I'm gonna start saying that. Gosh, way to like undersell anything positive. Like someone tells me about like, oh, you graduated. Well, that's a net positive. Good for you. I bought a house. That's a net positive.
No, you can't buy a house. You're a leftist.
I'm so okay. I feel like that's less a leftist thing and more a generational thing. Do you want to do ESPN 360 on Spider-Man?
No,
Okay.
I don't want to talk about Spider-Man until I've seen it.
Can we talk about Doctor Strange?
What did I say? So far, what I know about the events of that movie, it seems strange.
Oh,
Oh,
maybe that's why they call him Doctor Strange. Maybe it is more in line with his character than I was thinking. Maybe it's
oh,
what's the term for when you're named something and you do the
wait,
thing that your name
hold on.
suggests?
Nobody knows what we're talking about because we talked about this not on stream.
Why Doctor Strange would bother to, and we haven't seen the movie, and do not spoil the movie. Movie in question being the new Spider-Man
Yeah,
movie.
why would Doctor Strange do whatever the fuck a child wants him to do
Yeah,
with magic?
it's implied that Peter Parker is having a moment, and
He's having a bit of a Joker moment.
he's having a bit of a Joker moment, and he wants Doctor Strange to make everyone forget that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which I feel like, I don't know, like I'm not a magician, but I feel like that's a very tall order to just like wipe the minds of literally the entire world
Are you
so they
saying
don't
that
know.
that might be too much for his benefactors to do?
Yeah. Dude, I want okay, no, we're not gonna go there.
I
I
want Doctor Strange to get rid of the Combine.
was talking about this with someone else. We were discussing like whether or not there's a propensity for the Marvel characters to sort of tweak to sort of have their characters tweaked based on the context of like the main character of the films. I don't know if that makes sense, but like
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
So I wonder if like that's a sort of thing that's going on, which I think is kind of cool. And if that is something that's like sort of uh constant across the entire MCU, then I think that's kind of neat. I still think it's like if he goes from like mystical hardened sorcerer to like a little bit more of a goofy sorcerer just because he's in a Spider-Man film and the Spider-Man films are more goofy. I still think that's a bit of a reach for his character to be like, yeah, I'm gonna help this kid out for no
Okay,
reason.
here's the thing. There is one motivation, and this is the last thing I'll say about the Spider-Man movie. Okay, you forcefully at gunpoint coerced me
Yeah,
to talk about
I
the
did.
Spider-Man movie. There is one character motivation that I'll take for uh Doctor Strangelove to want to erase people's memory about Peter being uh Spider.
Hmm.
And that is that he might think that it's better like for for Peter Parker to not to be anonymous. Like he might like sympathize with him not being able to like live a normal life outside of being a superhero.
I was almost with you, actually.
Where did
I
I
don't.
lose you?
I I think actually no. You planted a seed in my
Ew.
brain
Ew.
with that thought.
Ew.
Yeah, you shoveled the
D-
dirt in there and everything.
Go
I
on.
think actually he might find it beneficial for other motives that Spider-Man's identity is not known, but not because he's empathetic towards Peter's situation, because I can't imagine Doctor Strange being empathetic towards him for that, but because it might serve the better purpose of like the Avengers protecting the stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes
Selectively
sense.
protecting the earth.
I guess that makes sense. And I guess if he feels like he can do it,
Yeah.
and they do establish in the trailers that like Peter messed it up, and that causes whatever is going
No,
to happen
but
to happen.
but Doctor Strange is like, there might be unintended consequences, and Peter's like, okay, let's do it, and then he's like, told you so, in the trailer.
Did he say that? I
He
don't think
didn't
no, I don't
literally.
think he actually said that. I think you're
He
misremembering.
didn't literally say that, but he kind of had that attitude, like, haha, I knew there were gonna be unintended consequences,
I feel like
unforeseen,
he said that.
perhaps.
I feel like he okay. I was going to make that joke. The other thing that I'm concerned about going into this is like the MCU has already established like 28,000 different ways that they're trying to handle this like multi parallel universe slash timeline stuff, and it's already tough enough keeping track of how they handle that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am concerned. I have concerns um, that if this is like another catalyst for trying to bring multiverse stuff into it, then it's going to get really confusing really fast to determine who exactly like did what to cause whatever thing to happen. Because like you look at series like Loki and what happened at the end of Loki, and it's like,
I don't actually.
so there's you didn't
No.
really.
Oh, I thought you knew.
I no, I think you should.
Okay. Well, I won't. I think I said at some point I don't really feel like watching the TV shows.
Well, you watched WandaVision, right?
No,
No, you didn't. Okay.
I watched one episode because you wanted me to. Never mind.
Okay.
I watched one episode because you wanted me to. That's what I was gonna say.
So a thing happens in Loki that kind of ties
Yeah.
to this whole situation.
Uh huh.
Um, I kind of almost hope that like whatever ends up happening in Spider-Man is sort of portrayed as something that's blamed on the two of them, but it turns out that there were other forces at work that were established in other installations of the MCU that are actually like at play, and they find a way to like tie those things together. Because I'm just concerned that they're gonna like establish like 12 different like multiverse concepts that they have to like reconcile at some point, and they're not gonna be able to like tie it all together because it's just gonna like spin out of control and not like in a good way. But who knows?
Okay. No
Yeah,
more cape shit.
no mas.
Let's talk about anarchist theory.
Spider-Man doesn't even wear a cape.
Doctor Strange does.
Yeah. We weren't talking about Doctor Strange, even though I said specifically if we could talk about Doctor Strange instead of Spider-Man.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, we could forget I said that.
Actually, wait. No, the cape wears him.
That is not really how that works.
The cape is sentient.
So is Doctor Strange. Last I checked.
Yeah, but it's possible that the
just
cape,
like an animated puppet.
it's possible that the cape is wearing him. Is it not?
No, I think wearing implies that there's some sort of, like, if you have
This is the conversation I approve of.
part, it involves two parts where one part is sort of like encapsulating or encompassing the other in some sort of surface. Although I guess you can also wear a tampon, right? Because that's the phrase that people use.
Tampon is wearing you, motherfucker. You ever think about it that way? This is ridiculous. I almost said the other R word.
Please send me this VOD when you're done.
No.
Please.
I will, because you're the only one who's brave enough to edit it and post it.
Absolutely. No, I do think the speedrunning philosophy is something that definitely needs to go up on youtube.com.
Flash.
Yeah. It's like that conversation is one of those conversations that I want to post, but then there's also like a conflicting philosophy that I have of trying to make my YouTube channel more like a Vimeo channel in which I do like a lot of curation and trimming of the content that I really want to be on there, that I feel like deserves to be on there. Which is why I only have, even though I've made videos regularly for a few years, as of right now, I think I have like 20 videos on my YouTube channel, because I'm not really that I don't really care about getting rid of ones that I don't feel I like anymore.
Going Highlander on those bitches.
Yeah, I literally have 22. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. And everyone else can cry about it.
You're the only one crying about it, bud.
I'm the only one not crying about it.
Hey, do you want to do some React content?
No.